Bortle here at YCS Sacramento with Whoa, please introduce yourself to the world.
My name is Clifton Land, and I got top 16 with Memento.
Memento? My goodness, so when did you start using this deck for the event?
I got bored of Snake Eyes, so that was kind of like the starter and stuff. But yeah, I think this deck will be pretty good after we get a ban list, because it's pretty similar to Snake. It's got a bunch of one card combos. It can play like the Fiendsmith package and stuff, and it has a bunch of like non-engine slots. So I just kind of wanted to get a head start on it for after the ban list hits.
Okay, sweet. Before we see the goo, any shout outs?
Yeah, shout out to my wife, Kat. Shout out to Goo Gaming, and then all the guys back into Kentucky supporting me.
Sweet. Without further ado, please show us the top 16 goo.
Alrighty. We have 3 Darkblade. This is like your Stratos, kinda. He pops himself to summon a Memento from the deck. He also, when he's summoned, you can discard a Memento card to pop a spell or trap, which comes up a lot in like random rogue matchups like Labyrinth, Runic Stun. Even against Tempai, you can just summon it on your opponent's turn and pop their field spell, which is pretty cool. 2 Angel Witch. This is like your Stratos. Whenever she's summoned, she adds a Memento monster, and then she can trade one of the Mementos you control with one of the ones in the field, which comes up because a lot of the little guys like pop themselves to add and do stuff. But only 2. You don't want too many normal summons, and they're all 1-card starters, like full combo. So 3 of the Seahorse, or Tatsunu Toshiko. I think that's how you say it. This is kind of like the Poplar-esque card. If you control no monsters or only Memento monsters, you can summon them from your hand, and then he can pop a Memento you control and then foolish that many Mementos whose levels add up to the monster that was destroyed. So this is kind of like your extender, but also like this is probably the best card in the deck. This is usually what you should hand trap. And then like the engine requirements: 1 Goblin, 1 Sleepy, 1 Gaddock, 1 Mace, and then 1 of the Creation. So this is the big guy that like the deck kind of revolves around. That's why you kind of got to play so many names. You shuffle 5 back in to summon him. He's your boss monster. He's what makes the best card in the deck work, which is the trap. And he also revives stuff whenever your opponent activates a card. And then all these other little guys are just there for utility. Goblin dumps 2. He also prevents your guys from being targeted. Mace searches any Memento card by popping a Memento. It can also take an opponent's monster on your opponent's turn. Gaddock, whenever he's sent to the graveyard, he summons himself back and then adds a Memento from grave. So this is like one of the main ways you play around Droll or something. So like if you get Drolled or something, you can like normal Goblin and then pop the Goblin to dump Gaddock and whatever Memento card you need. And then Gaddock will summon himself back, and then Gaddock can just add back whatever card that you other dumped with Goblin. So this is like really good in the combo, but also how you play around Droll and stuff. So this card's super key. This is like the only like kind of bad one to draw. All the other ones these are all like full 1-card starters. This one's like pretty good because you can still normal summon it and fuse if you have another Memento, so it's still fine. This is like the only one that doesn't do anything on by itself. But yeah, never want to play more than these. They're all super searchable throughout your deck. And then insert Fiendsmith engine here. You kind of just have to play it. I mean, it's just Tracts and Engraver are full combos. You can access the Memento engine because you can make Aerial Eater and dump Goblin because he's a fiend. So these are 1-card starters without having any Memento cards. They're also just the best extenders. Like if you have a Memento card and it gets hand trapped or something, and you have a way to a Fiendsmith engine, you can make Beatrice and then dump a Memento fusion. And then whenever Memento fusion, you can banish it to pop a card you control. You can banish this to pop a card you control. So usually you pop Beatrice after you dump it to add Bone Party. And then this is kind of like Risk Case Emergency. You activate it to pop a Memento that you started with that got negated, and then you can continue your combo from there.
Okay.
But yeah, Memento spells and traps. 2 fusion, 3 of the Bone Party, and then 1 of the field spell, and then 1 of the trap. So Bone Party, this is Rescue Ace, the emergency card. This card is absolutely crazy. And also you can banish it from your graveyard to give a Memento Piercing. I won round 2 that way. I played against the White Forest, and he like ended with 6 monsters on the field on his first turn. And then, but they were all in defense mode because he didn't have a battle phase. So I summoned the Creation guy, and he can attack all of your opponent's monsters. But since all those guys were in defense, I just gave it Piercing with a Bone Party and killed him through his whole board. So there's a lot of cute interactions with that. It's like same as like Snake. A lot of times they'll like after they play Pop or Link off their Flamberge and stuff, they'll usually have like the SP or whatever, and they bring back the 2 little guys off of Flamberge. There's a lot of times where I just summon this and then give it Piercing and kill them through their little guys. You don't even have to worry about like breaking the board with the crackback. So that's nice. Memento Fusion. This is, I I want to say this is the best card in the deck, just because it has so much utility. It's a hard once per turn, and it's like Prankus Pandemonium. You can only do it during the main phase, even though it's a quick play. So just 2. It doesn't do anything by itself, which is why there's only 2 and not 3, and it's super searchable throughout a lot of cards in the deck. And then it's also just the best extender. While it's in the graveyard, you can banish it to pop a monster you control, and then add a Memento spell or trap, and you can use both of its effects in the same turn, and it can search itself. So it just does everything that the deck needs to do, and it's really good at like playing through boards. Like if you normal one of your guys and it gets hand trapped, you can just chain and make the fusion. So it dodges stuff and helps you extend. It's also how you can like search some traps and any of the guys that you need. Just one of the field spell. This card's all right. It's searchable throughout the best fusion extra deck monster, so you kind of just have to play it. It helps with a lot of combos. It's really good against the weird decks like Labyrinth or like Runic Sun, because like whenever a Memento battles, they can't activate spells or traps. So sometimes you can just like summon a big guy and like try to threaten the inner battle phase and start making them flip their traps and stuff, and then you can react. And then during the end phase is the best part. It says during the end phase you can reset any of your Memento spells or traps from the graveyard. So since the deck dumps so much, you can just dump whatever card you need throughout the combo, and then during the end phase you get to this card, and then this card just resets whatever card you don't have. Now, most of the time you're using the fusion to search another copy of the fusion, and then this is setting itself during the end phase for like 5 monster negates. And then the non-engine. 3 Imperm, 3 Ash, 3 Nib, 3 Droplet, 3 Veiler. Pretty self-explanatory. Just gotta play a bunch of non-engine and stuff. Worst card all weekend was probably Nib. Best card all weekend was probably Droplet. This deck's like kind of similar to like Branded in terms of how it has like a lot of quick play spells and cards that you can like just dump with Droplet. So there's a lot of times where I'm like normal random Memento guy, and then it gets hand trapped, and then I'm like chaining Bone Party to try to dodge it, and then I'm chaining Droplet to also send the Bone Party and stuff to negate their board and everything. So kind of like in Branded, how you would like activate Branded Opening and then chain Droplet and stuff like that. So that comes up a lot. And then just having your guys in grave is totally fine. Sometimes just discarding this to get in the graveyard to banish it to pop a card and then search a Memento card to keep going. It comes up a lot too. But yeah, just in a non-engine, beat the other decks.
What's mana count?
40. Oh, it's gotta be 40. It's gotta be 40. It has to be. All right, extra deck. Kind of like some of the stapler stuff. SP, it's crazy, just generic card. If you get hand trapped a lot, this is usually what you go into. You want to summon this and then the Combined Creation, which is the huge big guy. If you get hand trapped a lot and you can't make your full board, normally you want to make this and then summon this. That way, if they Nibiru you, you can just chain SP, banish them both, and then they both come back during the end phase, because you need this guy on field for your trap to be alive. So if you get hand trapped a lot, this is usually kind of what you detour in. Appaloosa is part of the end board. It's just broken. It beats all the random cards that the trap can't negate. And then Cross Sheep is part of the main combo. You fusion summon a lot, and you have a bunch of like little floater bodies, kind of like Snake Eye. So it helps you revive the Memento guys to keep going. It's also really good with the Fiendsmith stuff. And then we have like the Fiendsmith little package, and then the fusions for it. So play Beatrice, just 2 level 6 guys. Helps dump the Memento fusion to banish it and then pop a card and then search whatever you need. I can also just dump another like name if you really need it or something. Fiendsmith stuff, of course. And then you play the Necroquip and Aerial Eater. This is pretty much just to help make Beatrice. But Aerial Eater is what allows this deck to be a full card combo off of the Fiendsmith Engraver. Whenever you make the sequence, you use sequence to shuffle back the 2 guys to make Aerial Eater. Aerial Eater dumps Goblin because it's a fiend. You then link these 2 off for Cross Sheep. And then you will summon back Aerial Eater from your graveyard by banishing either a Lacrima and a Fiendsmith Engraver, or just 2 Engravers, whatever you need. And then since you dumped Goblin off Aerial Eater earlier in the combo, off its effect, Cross Sheep triggers, bringing back the Goblin, and then Goblin's full combo. So you can still make Appaloosa right before that, and then before you like combo with the Goblin and stuff. So super, super nice. Aerial Eater helps this deck out a lot. And then your other 2 Fiendsmith guys, Lacrima, mandatory, and then Desiree. This is the MVP card in this deck. This is why the Fiendsmith stuff's so good in this deck. The Memento stuff really struggles against board breaker cards. So things like Talent's Thrust, Droplet not so much, but things like Lightning Storm, Feather Duster evenly matched, because a lot of your stuff is like back row and like monster reliant. And you have a bunch of monster negates, but there's not really any spells and traps negates. So with a combo, you always want to end on this with Desiree. That way she can negate like the talents or whatever, like back row destruction and stuff. And it's really good against like Tempi and things like that too. And then the Memento fusions. Just one dragon. The extra deck's kind of tight because we play the Fiendsmith stuff, but you only ever need one, and you can always just put them back with the creation because they shuffle back any name. And then 2 of the best card in the extra deck. I can't believe they made this card. It's a little custom card, just 3 memento monsters, no restrictions. Whatever it's summoned, you dump 3 mementos from your extra deck or deck to the graveyard. So it helps load up the grave for this guy. It helps effectively search like the traps and spells if you're under draw or something. And then he's a quick effect. Pop as many cards your opponent controls as memento cards you control. And then while he's in the graveyard, you can banish him to add the field spell. So yeah, it does everything on one card. You just summon it. Usually you dump a second copy of himself to the graveyard. That way you can banish to get the field spell. And then you dump the trap so you can set it off the field spell during the end phase. And then whatever third name you need to put back for this guy. And then like the cheeky card is Guardian Chimera, because Memento Fusion doesn't have a restriction. You can make any monster with it. You just have to use a memento. So, I mean, you always have a memento. So a lot of the times just the extra layer interruption comes up with Guardian Chimera. A lot of times whenever you do the combo and you end on like this guy with this, whenever your opponent activates a card effect, this resolves, and then usually you summon back something like this, and this pops a card. And then this triggers, the field spell triggers to bring back Witch from your grave. Brings back Witch. And then Witch can search any memento, so I usually search Mace. And then you can use Mace, discard it on your opponent's turn to take one of their monsters. So then now that you control their monster, now you can use the fusion to fuse with the Witch and the card that you took of your opponent's monster and the card in hand to make Guardian Chimera. So it's just extra interruption on top of interruption, and without having to use like too many resources. It's also really good just against the rogue decks and stuff. There's a lot of times like where I just like normal Witch, use its effect going second, and they chain like Imperm, and then I just chain Diffuse, so I just dodge it to like get my search still, and then summon this to pop their cards and things. But yeah, he came up a lot. I know a lot of people don't play this card in this deck, but yeah, I really, really like it. And then outside, Bestials. I was kind of conflicted on this at first because the Seahorse can only be summoned if you control only memento monsters or no monsters. So I thought this was going to conflict, but it doesn't conflict too bad at all. Even the times where it like does, you can just tribute summon the horse over this guy if you really need to like full combo with the horse. I did that a couple times, but yeah, these cards are just too impactful not to play. 3 of the Mummy. I only drew it once. It didn't do anything. But in theory, it's really good. This deck's pretty good at breaking boards, and you play a lot of hand traps. So it's kind of just to get the extra engine pieces and hand traps and stuff. What a way to do it! We have Feather Duster, called by Change of Heart, just power spells. It kind of just lines up with the siding patterns. A bunch of like these 1-ofs in my side deck and stuff. These are kind of just the best ones. I side out like Droplet and some of the things like that for going first. That's why I need extra cards like Called By and stuff just to fix the siding patterns. And then both of these cards are just broken. And then we have 3 Judgment, which is kind of like the God card for going first. I basically just swap like 3 Droplet for 3 Judgment whenever I go first. Like I said, this deck kind of has a problem with board breakers like Lightning Storm, Evenly Mash, and stuff like that if you can't make Desiree. And this is kind of just like helps seal that deal. This card is super, super good all weekend. And then the last 3 are just like the power 1-of traps. So Anti Spell, card's godly. Helps beat the board breaker problem like Lightning Storm and stuff. All of your mementos are different types and attributes, so you don't care about there can be only one. So it's good against like Tempai, Yubel, things like that. And then this is the other trap, it's Memento Fracture Dance. This is better against like the stun matchups, whereas the other trap doesn't do as much because the trap just negates monster effects, whereas this one's kind of like Icarus Attack. It pops 2 cards if you control the big guy, and you can search it throughout the combo. And you can just keep resetting it off the field spell during the end phase. So yeah, I like a Runic Stone game where I resolve this card like 3 times in one game. You just keep setting out the field spell and popping their board. But yeah.
Hey man, congrats on top 16.
Thank you.
And thank you for the explanation and combos. God, but yeah, that's gonna be it, guys. Until next time, Bortle out.